Live at 5. This is SNN, the Suncoast News Network, your local news leader.
Hello everyone, I'm Eric Wilson. Don Brennan is off this week, and thank you for joining us here on the SNN Evening Edition. Let's get right to our top story. In Louisville today, Monday, 4 victims were killed and at least 9 others were hurt when a gunman opened fire at a bank. The shooter was killed by police, and the actions of those officers is being called heroic. NBC's Dan Sheneman has the story.
8:38 a.m. Active shooter at a bank in downtown Louisville.
This was terrifying. It was terrifying.
3 minutes after the call, officers were on the scene.
The suspect shot at officers. We then returned fire and stopped that threat. The suspect is deceased.
Also dead, 4 victims, at least 9 others injured. 2 officers among the casualties. Police say their quick action likely saved lives.
And I want to thank them and all our other law enforcement officers for responding and doing their best to try to save some of my friends. I have a very close friend that didn't make it today. And I have another close friend who didn't either, and one who's at the hospital that I hope is going to make it through.
Federal authorities say this is being investigated as workplace violence.
The suspect has been identified as Connor Sturgeon, white male, 23 years of age, who was employed at Old National Bank. His weapon of choice was a rifle.
While police search for answers.
Our community will continue to come together. We will find ways to love and support one another and the families and friends who have been directly impacted by these acts of gun violence.
A call for unity in a time of grief. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
One of the injured officers was recently sworn in at the police academy. He is not in critical but stable condition. 2 teenagers were shot in Sarasota last night, just hours after an Easter parade ended. SNN's Brianna Boskert has the details.
Oh, we hear pow, pow, pow. We take off. I get back, the whole road blocked off. I can't get in. I couldn't get in my yard until 3 o'clock this morning.
Bullet holes cover Maple Avenue after a Sunday night shooting leaves 2 teenagers injured.
With the number of shots that I heard, and I'm not exactly sure how many, there could have been a lot of people killed last night.
Odessa Butler has lived on the street for over 50 years. She was sitting in her living room when she heard the shots, thankfully none hitting her home.
By the grace of God.
The Sarasota Police Department says officers patrolling the area heard gunshots just before 9 p.m. and responded.
They found a 19-year-old woman with non-life-threatening injuries, and she was transported to Sarasota Memorial Hospital. A short time later, we learned through our investigation that also, in addition to that, a 17-year-old boy was also taken to the hospital. He was taken to Blake Medical Center.
The shooting happening just hours after Newtown's Easter parade ended.
There were a lot of people in this area of North Sarasota on Easter celebrating the holiday, and we're just thankful that nobody was killed as a result of this. We hate to hear that 2 people were injured, teenagers at that, and we don't want to see this happen again.
Both teenagers who were shot were released from the hospital Sunday night. Reporting in Sarasota, Brianna Boskert, SNN, the Suncoast News Network.
Thank you, Brianna. No arrests have been made at this time. Police are asking anyone with information to call the Sarasota Police Department at 941-263-6827 or leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers at 941-366-TIPS. 2 people are dead and 3 others are injured after shots rang out at an Orlando, Florida Easter egg hunt last night. Police say the deadly shooting was reported in Poppy Park around 6:50 p.m. Sunday. There were apparently lots of kids and families in the park when someone started shooting out in the street. Orlando police have not released details about the victims or their ages. A tow truck did haul a sports car away from the scene. A deflated bounce house and plastic eggs reportedly remained at the scene today, Monday. Police have not said whether they have a suspect in the shooting or if anyone is in custody. An investigation is ongoing. All right, well, the nurse shortage continues to be an issue. I was fortunate enough to do one a couple weeks ago. One social media influencer hopes to add more nurses through TikTok. Ever since the pandemic, nursing shortage has grown from 100,000 to 200,000. Registered nurse Meg is combating the shortages through educating others through social media.
I felt a huge passion. No one is doing anything. I'm going to do something. So that's when I started all of my resources and started teaching not just locally or to the nurses that I knew, but nationwide.
Using TikTok, Nurse Meg, along with Nurse Jessica and Nurse Erica, teach nursing students anything from test prep to real-life lessons they have learned throughout their career. All right, well, dueling court decisions last week have left the legality of pills used to induce abortions in limbo. The battle is motivating both sides of the debate, with elected officials in favor of abortion rights vowing to protect access to the drug in any way they can. NBC's Alice Barr reports from Washington.
A standoff this week over abortion, yet again dividing the country. Democratic lawmakers introducing legislation today to protect access to the abortion pill.
It is our obligation to stand up to this most recent assault on our reproductive rights.
Though it's sure to fail in a Republican-controlled House.
I think it's important that we protect the sanctity of life. I believe in state rights.
The political fight follows a ruling from a federal judge in Texas, invalidating the FDA's nationwide approval of mifepristone after more than 20 years as the most widely used abortion method in the country. The pill is still available for now. The judge put his own ruling on hold for a week while the Biden administration appeals.
If the decision stands, it will put women's health at risk and undermine the FDA's ability to ensure patients have access to safe and effective medications when they need them the most.
At the same time, another federal judge in Washington state ordered the FDA to keep mifepristone on the shelves. But that decision only applies to the 17 blue states in Washington, D.C. that sued over it.
It's about making sure you determine when you want to start a family, not some bureaucrat, not some judge does that.
Now, with the abortion pill debate likely destined for the same conservative-leaning Supreme Court that overturned the federal right to an abortion, the nation may be headed for a reboot on the hotly contested fight over reproductive rights, just as the 2024 race for the White House heats up. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The overturning of Roe v. Wade set off a cascade of abortion restrictions in Republican-led states, but after disappointing midterm elections for the GOP, some Republican leaders are trying to strike a balance in their messaging on this topic heading into 2024. As the spread of COVID slows down, many test sites have been shut down. But don't worry, there are other options. And SNN's Sydney Rell has the details.
Lab Services at Kane Plaza in Sarasota is giving out free COVID-19 rapid tests to those who may need them or just want them. After an easy online process, free kits will be shipped directly to your door.
We've obviously closed our community sites, but we still want people to be able to have access to testing if they're not feeling great. We've kind of just wanted to pivot to this just so we can continue to serve the community and make sure that people are staying safe.
The kits are covered by insurance and can be shipped to your house or be picked up directly at Lab Services located on the 9th floor of Kane Plaza. Anyone who wants tests can receive a total of 8. This means every member of your family can receive 8 tests each.
They'll come 2 to a box and they'll get 4 boxes. So 8 total tests. They can either elect to have just a one-time shipment of 8 tests, or they will receive a shipment every month, so it would be April and May.
Lab Services has been sending kits all across the country, as anyone with a United States insurance policy has access. The COVID-19 public health emergency is set to expire on May 11th, which means you have until then to get the free kits. In Sarasota, I'm Sydney Rell, SNN, the Suncoast News Network.
To order your free at-home rapid test, visit myathomcovidtest.com. You can also find the link on our website at snntv.com. A scuba diving Easter bunny doles out eggs on Sunday to eager divers and snorkelers in the Florida Keys. Participants gather in the area of the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary off Key Largo for the event. The underwater Easter egg hunt is staged every year by Spencer Slate, the operator of Captain Slate's Dive Adventures in the Upper Keys. Organizers of the event use real hard-boiled eggs and non-toxic coloring to avoid negative environmental impacts. Proceeds benefit a local children's charity. And a series of expired salad kits sold in grocery stores are being recalled due to listeria concerns. The FDA said Fresh Express incorporated salad kits that were found to have listeria. According to the company, the salad kits are no longer being sold and have already expired. However, they were sent to retail stores, including Florida. Listeria can have severe symptoms like high fever, headache, stiffness, nausea, abdominal pain, and diarrhea among healthy individuals. However, infections can be deadly in children, the elderly, and those with compromised immune systems. Coming up on the evening edition, an active shooter incident turned out to be false. I'll have the details when we return.